After having reviewed dozens of shirts over the past couple of months, I can confidently say that these are the best ones so far. Before we start, let's quickly go through this chart. We have grade A, B, and C for well-made shirts, meaning that grade C can be achieved through good machine work and refined construction and trims alone, while grade D is still good enough but has room for improvement. Now let's get started. First we have Xenia, the brand that has its own proprietary Trofeo fabric treatment, scored only 10 out of a possible 25 points, which put it just short of what is deemed a well-made shirt. Now, the reason Luigi Borelli is one of my personal favorites is because of the incredible amount of handwork, and the overall score led in this case to 17 out of 25 points. And while we're down in Naples, we're going to take a look at Isaiah. The brand is incredibly famous with North American customers and scored a whopping 17 out of 25 points, partially due to the very high stitch density and superior garment construction that features a lot of handwork and very nice trims. Borriello, while originally manufacturing for other brands, has its own line that delivers everything you could ask for at a very competitive price of usually under 150 bucks, and you're getting a 22 stitches per inch stitch density, which is almost unheard of at a price point of well below 200 euros. And when you combine all of this, the brand scored 11 out of 25 points and marks the baseline of what a good shirt should look like and what you should expect from something that bears the Made in Italy label. And now let's move on to the first grade A shirt in this list, and that comes from 100 Hands via its gold line. And this is especially interesting if you're looking for something that's almost entirely handmade. You're getting button shanks, you're getting high stitch density, mother of pearl buttons, a very sophisticated garment construction, and side seams and shoulder seams that look just beautiful. And while these shirts are certainly not economically priced, they're well worth it considering the amount of handwork and quality overall that you're getting, because 100 Hands also uses some of the best fabrics. Next we have what is undoubtedly one of the youngest brands on this list, and that is Pini Parma. The brand made a splash as a D2C entrant about a decade ago and is delivering with its Sartoria line shirt a really solid buy recommendation that scored 11 out of 25 points. And we have one of your favorites, and that is Eton. The brand is an office worker's favorite with its proprietary treatment, easy iron care, and very refined cut. However, it didn't score as high as you would expect by the popularity of the brand, and it really only fell short in aspects like stitch density, which could easily be improved. So that's leaving us with 9 out of a possible 25 points. Now, if you've been wanting to dip your toes into Neapolitan waters, then Barba Napoli might just be the right brand for you. You're getting a lot of handwork here, from the hand-attached side gussets to the hand-sewn sleeve heads. It's really everything that you could want from a Neapolitan shirt, including a solid stitch density and an overall score of 13 out of 25 possible points. If handwork is not your cup of tea and you prefer the rigidity and consistency of machine-sewn seams, then Frey is probably the best option for you on this list. Because if there's one thing that Frey is good at, then it's textbook shirt construction. You're getting a total score out of 12 points here. Then we have a brand that has a big fan club online. If you ask anyone what is the best OCBD or Oxford cloth button-down shirt, they will shout from the roofs that it's from Drake's. And while it is certainly a nice shirt, it is nowhere near the reputation that precedes it. And that's why, despite having a very nice color roll, it only scored 8.5 out of the possible 25 points. On the opposite side of the spectrum, at the very top of this ranking, is Jean Glazer, the Apulian shirt maker, that scored 22 out of a possible 25 points. And despite not being exactly cheap, it delivers also a relatively good value for the amount of handwork and overall quality that you're getting, when you consider that the company also specs its own and designs its own fabrics, which are then supplied by the likes of Alumo, Albini, and their peers. And as with everything that you start, there are always things that you discover in the process. Wolf vs. Gold was one of those brands when I started making this shirt list. The brand delivers a really solid entry with a total of 15 points. Now that we're almost at the halfway mark of this video, we are taking a look at Sonrisa, a brand that also a lot of you requested, that scored 9 out of 25 points. This was in a comparison video with the brand that we're following this one up with, and that was Alessandro Gerardi, the shirt maker's shirt maker essentially. They produce for a lot of the high-end luxury brands, but also have their own line, where they showcase why they are trusted by so many high-end luxury brands, because they deliver a great value with a shirt that scored 12 out of 25 points and sells for just around 200 euros. And speaking of designer brands, Tom Ford is arguably one of the most well-regarded designer brands, and they follow up with a really good shirt that features a lot of good construction hallmarks and is overall thoughtfully designed, and that's probably why they deservedly so score 15 out of 25 points for what may be just the designer shirts in the eyes of some, but is actually a well-regarded and well-constructed garment. And next up we have one of my youth favorites, Stenströms. The Swedish brand was heavily represented in my closet during undergraduate and for maybe a few years thereafter, and it scores 11 out of 25 points and delivers a really solid value. Then we move again to Italy for one of the most respected and oldest menswear brands, Brioni. And the thing with Brioni is that they're using some of the best and finest fabrics, which are partially responsible for the price of their shirts. It sadly, however, does not deliver on the garment construction front. Despite featuring some core hallmarks such as a scarto manica, it only scored 9 out of 25 points. Next we have a brand that many of you have arguably been waiting for while watching this video, and that is Suit Supply, a shirt that scores well on all categories and shows us that a good shirt can be had for not as much money as many might think. This shirt scored 11.5 out of a possible 25 points, and this makes it the textbook recommendable shirt that is not made in Italy in this case. And speaking of Italy, Bagutta Milano was a surprise in this shirt review series so far because the brand delivered a really solid score for just around 180 euros, and it checked all the boxes that a shirt should check when reviewed and when evaluated on a scale that only considers garment construction with a stitch density of 24 per inch. And this price, it scored 12 out of the possible 25 points. And as aforementioned, there are a couple of independent brands that never came across my radar until I started this series. HHR by Hendrik is one of them, and it scored remarkably high considering that the brand reputation did not precede it, and with a score of 14.5 out of 25 points, this is a really solid shirt. And going from independent to arguably one of the best known brands on this list, Loro Piana delivered a really solid linen shirt in this case that scored 11.5 out of the possible 25 points. And as you may see here, we only have two brands left, Finamore being one of them. We've reviewed the green labels so far. Yes, I know they have a mainline that has more handwork, but it has not come across my desk yet, and if it does, and when it does, I will include it in this review. It scored 13 out of 25 points, which makes this still a C-grade shirt that is very much recommendable. And while we're not exactly saving the best for last, Keaton delivered an exceptionally well-made shirt that features a lot of handwork, an ultra-refined garment construction with details that I've not seen anywhere else. Whether that was the stitch density of 26 per inch or the fact that the shoulder panel and yoke in this case, as you can see here, were overlapping with the inside seam of the shoulder instead of exposing it. It is a great example of a big brand delivering a true luxury product, and that's why it's a grade A shirt with 21 out of a possible 25 points. And now these are just the best shirts that we've reviewed so far. If a brand is missing from this list, we've probably already covered it, and you can find it on Substack if you're a subscriber. And it is also the place where you can find over 350 articles as well as over 50 shirt reviews with detailed breakdowns. And so when you dive into all of the content that I've put out so far, I really hope that at the end of it you become a smarter and more educated consumer that buys the product and not the brand. Thank you for watching.